Matthew Stafford clickbait trade rumors are losing steam, as predicted. As USC basketball fades, Eric Musselman agrees with Mick Cronin over Big Ten scheduling, and a number of LAFC fans break the cardinal rule of being an Angeleno. Good morning. I'm James. This is your daily dose of sports and snark for the greatest sports city in the world, Los Angeles. This is the faithful Angelenos morning report. So it is February 25th, 2025. We are back on the road, working in Portland. Kind of how Charles Dickens viewed London. Only Oliver Twist didn't have any syringes hanging out of his arm. But so be it. This is life. And if you like being in the know about LA sports, clickety-clack the like button. Clickety-clack the subscribe button. There's a notification bell. Hit that. It'll let you know when we drop new content. Sharing is caring. Let people know we exist. So by all means, comment. Now, before we go through the news notes, a look at the scoreboard. Detroit 106, Clippers 97. James Harden scored 18, but the Clippers were without Kawhi Leonard, Norman Powell, Ben Simmons. No chance. Kings 5, Vegas 2. Trevor Moore scored twice. Quentin Byfield added 4 assists, and the Kings pulled away with 4 third-period goals. Lovely night out at Crypto.com. Meanwhile, today, Dallas is at the Lakers at 7. This is going to be awkward. I don't even know if Anthony Davis is going to be there for the perfunctory thank you tribute video. And Colorado is at LAFC at 7. This is the second leg of a home-and-home in the first round of CONCACAF Champions Cup. The Rapids currently hold a 2-1 lead in the aggregate. Now let's get to the news. During the Les Snead, Sean McVay era with the Rams, they've abandoned going to the NFL Combine. Just said, whatever, we'll just watch the video, take a couple of notes. And yet, to show how unvaluable the Combine actually is, they've absolutely crushed the last 2 drafts. So, what will the Rams do on Thursday? While millions of people with no lives tune into NFL Network to watch randos in a 40-yard dash, the Rams are going to talk to player agents. And that's actually quite useful. For example, this offseason, once again, they're going to have punch and pie with Jimmy Sexton, who's Matthew Stafford's representative. Considering the Rams let that guy talk with other teams about potential Stafford trades, we're going to finally gain true enlightenment about the quarterback's future. No girl talk from the podcast cloud chasing wife. No, bloggers trying to get clickbait porn, getting Rams fans to be frightened about Stafford's future. It'll be nice to have some actual clarity for a change. Meanwhile, ESPN yesterday reiterated that skepticism of a potential Stafford trade is highly warranted. Said their NFL insider, Jeremy Fowler, quote, "A lot of other teams I've talked to, including teams that need a quarterback, are skeptical that Stafford would leave the Rams," unquote. Now, all of this chatter, this misinformation, as they like to say out in Washington, D.C., has impacted how the scribes and how the analysts are looking at the Rams' offseason plans. Consider, the Rams would need a quarterback pronto should Stafford want out. But again, I'm not forecasting that. I don't buy that. With Stafford in the mix, though, the primary needs, according to multiple analysts, would be left tackle and cornerback. So how does this impact the draft? Maybe free agency? Well, let's take a moment and consider the draft. For those of us who have watched how the Rams run things, they draft a lot of cornerbacks in day 3 rounds. Then they let those guys battle it out for jobs. This would suggest to me that the Rams would look at tackle early in free agency or the draft. Now, should they wind up getting a free agent tackle? Possible. Maybe, just maybe, they look at either wide receiver or quarterback in a year or two. But those are just random thoughts. Nothing too earth-shattering when you consider the probability that Stafford stays in LA. We have long suggested that despite 500 coaching victories, UCLA basketball coach Mick Cronin is a bit of an overly emotional hothead. But just because you're a bit of an overly emotional hothead, it doesn't make you wrong about everything. USC coach Eric Musselman, for example, agrees with Cronin that adding West Coast teams to a nationwide conference like the Big Ten means, quote, we're in the hole 2 to 4 games based on travel. It's going to be that forever for men's basketball. This is the same trip that Coach Cronin had in his rant. And unless you're doing it or having done it in the past, which no one has done, unless you've been in the NBA, when you travel 3 time zones and you're out here for 6 days, unquote. Now, I actually feel compassion for Musselman as opposed to Cronin. Because Musselman, well, hell, they could use the extra win or 2 over at USC. UCLA is definitely in the mix for a decent seed in the NCAA tournament, but Musselman right now, that team is not going anywhere. Not only are they not going to March Madness, only 15 teams in the 18 teams that belong to the Big Ten, only 15 of them make the conference tournament in the first place. The Trojans are tied for 15th. They only have 15th as a result of a tiebreaker. They're tied with Minnesota and Iowa. USC has 3 games to either improve or hold on to that last spot. Here is something that I never thought I would have to say, a topic, I should say, that I would never have to discuss on this program. See, because I love soccer derbies. Now, I know some of you guys who watch this show don't watch soccer. For those of you who have never heard the term derby, it's an intra-city rivalry. It's USC versus UCLA, it's Lakers-Clippers, and in Major League Soccer, it is your 6-time MLS Cup champion Galaxy and LAFC. This to MLS is Ali Frazier. It's Leonard Duran. I went to the first El Tráfico when Zlatan Ibrahimovic led the Galaxy to a terrific comeback victory over the expansion black and gold. There have been goals where players openly taunt the opposing fans. Certainly fans taking it too far at each other's expense. Now, normally when intercity fan stupidity is rampaging, I would say you just sit back, enjoy a bottle of Modelo with a bag of tasty Hostess donuts on the side, and just let it ride. Because it's a lot of fun watching people get that passionate about how they are the only ones who really get to claim LA. How they are the only ones who get to claim LA. Now, you would think common sense would later prevail, because after the match is over, you could actually see that rival fan at a different LA game. You could see him at Dodger Stadium. You could see him wearing purple and gold, right? You let El Tráfico drop after the final whistle because you have real enemies. Real enemies. Only thing is, there's apparently a few LAFC fans who have found common ground, a sort of camaraderie and esprit de corps with San Diego sports fans, because San Diego FC shut out the Galaxy on Sunday night. And I'm left with no choice but to ask those fraud Angelenos this. Are you really that brain damaged? Are you? I know many LAFC fans have this tunnel vision to say that they are the only real Los Angeles team. But I'm here to tell you something. Keep in mind, there is nothing more anti-Los Angeles than joining forces with people who chant beat LA. None. That is absolutely the opposite of a Los Angeles fan. San Diego sports fans are not your friends. This is not the enemy of my enemy is my friend. It's not that. You are not playing 4D chess with San Diego. 2 years ago, up in Stanford, the Galaxy played San Jose. The Quakes fans unveiled this tifo that suggested both the Galaxy and LAFC were clowns, and by extension, all of their fan bases, clowns. Is that a team that you want to shake their hand, that you want to clank whatever beer with when they play the Galaxy? Is that really what you think of them? Now, since you weren't there that night to defend the honor of your team, just understand that the Galaxy took care of business and beat their wee little blue Smurfy asses until they were bright red. But had San Jose won, using your logic, you'd have celebrated right along with those idiots while they called you a clown to your face. I would say you need to use your heads, but apparently half of what's inside those skulls have been devoured by parasites. I have no idea. This is the logic from you. This is the logic of people who have swallowed a bottle of Molly. And why would you root for Slime Diego? Why? Why would anyone want to root for Slime Diego? Down there, they like to call themselves America's finest city, but in the sports world, they're Somalia. Slime Diego is a failed state. So by giving props to people who have a false sense of superiority just because they have a whale in a tank, they hate your guts. I don't know what to tell you. I mean, now to be fair, last night on Twitter, there were a few LAFC fans who understood. You never root for San Diego. You don't bump fists with Slime Diego. You want nothing but bad things to happen to Slime Diego. I would never root for the San Francisco 49ers to beat, say, the LA Chargers, even though I am a Rams fan. Because Niner fans chant beat LA. I'm a Lakers fan, not a Clippers fan. But when the Clippers play Golden State, I hope Steph Curry gets cataracts. I hope he misses every shot. Same reason they chant beat LA. Angelenos have enemies from sea to shining sea. Rooting for Slime Diego, for Scum Francisco in any situation is the move of a simpleton. If you really want to play this game, LAFC fans, if you really want to play this game, go meet your new besties at Petco Park at a Dodgers-Padres game. And that's even assuming that the owners of the Padres would even allow tickets to be sold to Angelenos. That's how much contempt that they have for you. So let me make this as simple as possible. Before, leading up to, and during El Tráfico, we can say whatever we want about each other. You can talk crap when the Galaxy plays cities that don't have an LA animus. When the Galaxy plays Real Salt Lake, knock yourselves out. But Slime Diego is never to be supported. They despise you every bit as much as they despise me. No self-respecting Angeleno would ever, and I mean ever, show love to fan bases who only exist to chant beat LA. And that's the memo. We mentioned earlier in the program that the Dallas Mavericks are in town tonight, and it's not just Anthony Davis's potential return. Max Christie is actually making a real return. He will actually be there and play. Christie's numbers have spiked since landing in Dallas from 8.5 points per game in LA to 15. One person who's actually happy to see Christie's development is JJ Redick. Quote, Max, since the day I took the job, was someone I was very high on. I feel very invested. He's someone who was given more opportunity and became someone who starred in his role. Really happy to see him succeeding, unquote. Which honestly is fair. I was never bullish on Max Christie. I didn't think he'd do squat in LA. Whatever the Mavericks have done, cool. You know, it doesn't make him an all-star, but it does make him a legit NBA player. Finally. But you let me know what you think in the comments thread. Talk to me about what you think the Matthew Stafford market actually is. For that matter, do you believe that the Big Ten scheduling is way too punitive on USC and UCLA? And if you enjoyed the content, don't forget to subscribe to Faithful Angelenos. We talk LA sports every single day here. Thank you for watching. I'm James. We'll be back tomorrow. Faithful Angelenos is a Kian Corte El Queso production. Take care.